Hey everybody, Josh Sigurdson of World Alternative Media here, and we're joined by Tim Picciott, the Liberty advisor. And many years ago, I reported, I believe alongside John Snyson, on this gold manipulator at Deutsche Bank who exposed a whole bunch of other gold manipulators at Deutsche Bank. Of course, Deutsche Bank has been caught red-handed spoofing the price of gold and silver over the years, including in a court of law. People said it was conspiracy for a long time, but they've been caught one time after another, alongside many other big banks. In fact, it is commonplace among most of the big banks to spoof gold and silver markets. We've found that before on multiple occasions, from JP Morgan, where they've seen fall guys for spoofing gold, to BNP Paribas, Scotia Bank, Wells Fargo, and the list goes on and on. And I want to go into this article today out of Zero Hedge that says, Deutsche Bank gold manipulator. Spoofing was so commonplace, I figured it was okay. And to get into this article a bit, it's about the story of David Liew, who we reported on back in June 2017. So it's interesting to see this story come up again, because Deutsche Bank is, well, they've had a bad year, they've had a bad decade, they've had a bad 20 years, bad century, really. It's just been a bad time for Deutsche Bank for a long time. Of course, they're one of our favorite banks at World Alternative Media to pick on, because they've been so heavily involved in like the derivatives markets. In fact, at one point, their derivative exposure at the beginning of 2016 was at $75 trillion, which is literally the GDP of the entire world. Anyway, we're going to get into this and more today, but first, make sure to hit that like button, share on social media, go to www.iambanned.com. Everything's linked below in the description to join our newsletter. It helps. All you have to do is put in your email. It's super easy. And also, make sure to join us on the alternatives like Flote.app, LBRY, BitChute, and Minds. We are starting to really grow on there, and it's super, extremely important for you guys to go over there and help support us on the alternatives, as YouTube, we won't be on here much longer if you're watching on YouTube. And if we're not on here for much longer, the only way we're going to be able to spread this information is on those alternatives. Of course, you can find ways to support us, as we are completely viewer funded and demonetized. So GoFundMe, Patreon, Subscribestar, and of course, you could become a client of Tim Picciott, who is a certified financial planner, at www.thelibertyadvisor.com. And one more thing, guys, if you want to keep yourself safe from the government spying on your every move, following you around everywhere you go, contact tracing, perhaps you're concerned about your health from your cell phone being in your pocket, from the radiation, you should look at the PFT Privacy Protector linked below. We have an affiliate with them over at Press for Truth. I highly recommend it. It's a fair day. It's going to keep you safe from being spied on. It's going to keep you safe in the coming technocratic wars. It's going to keep you safe from the radiation. So I highly recommend that. Anyway, let's get into this article. As I mentioned, Deutsche Bank gold manipulator. Spoofing was so commonplace, I figured it was okay. And as the article goes into, we first brought you the fascinating story of Deutsche Bank's gold spoofer, David Liew, back in June 2017, when we revealed that the former precious metals trader turned government star informant was responsible for busting a massive ring of gold manipulators that resulted in numerous arrests and multi-million penalties paid by banks, including Deutsche Bank, UBS, and HSBC. For those who need a refresher, read Deutsche Bank trader admits to rigging precious metal markets. Again, that's an article that we went into many years ago here at WAM, which also exposed a whole bunch of other guys, including BNP Paribas and Scotia Bank and you name it. Anyway, as it continues, it says, in which we exposed, or in which we showed such internal chatboard excerpts as the following. And you look at this chatboard and you see these traders talking with each other. And if you have stops, oh boy, and this guy says, haha, who are you going to call? Stop busters, and they laughed about it. And of course, this from May 11th, 2011, where this Deutsche Bank trader says, the fix, dude, you guys were the silver market. Why you say that? Haha, on the fixes. Someone told you? My IDN. Okay, you guys short some funky options. Well, you told me to, but I told no one. You just said you sold on fix. We smashed it good. Effing hell. UBS, now you make me regret not joining. By the way, keep it to yourself. Well, obviously it wasn't kept to them. Obviously millions of people ended up seeing those chat messages. And as the article continues here, it says, fast forward to today, when the former Deutsche Bank analyst David Liew told a Chicago jury he learned how to manipulate gold and silver prices from the two successful senior traders he admired and worked with for about 3 years. As Bloomberg reports, Liew said he wanted to be a team player and make money after joining the bank's Singapore office, so he began doing spoof trades the way he was taught by Cedric Chanoux and James Vorley, two other Deutsche Bank gold traders who were perp walked in January 2018 as a crackdown on spoofers hit. According to Liew, the senior traders often place buy and sell orders they never intended to execute, a strategy intended to influence prices so they could reap illegal profits. And I quote, "I saw Mr. Vorley and Mr. Chanoux do it," Liew, the prosecution star witness, said Wednesday in federal court. Liew, who has already pleaded guilty to spoofing charges and is cooperating with the government, said he sat next to Chanoux in Singapore from 2009 to 2012 and communicated daily on a live video chat with Vorley in London. And the punchline? While Liew knew manipulating prices was wrong, he said spoofing trades were so commonplace in the market and among his coworkers that he figured it was okay. And obviously people around between 2008, 2012, and then 2012 and onward who trade gold are not big fans of these guys because they were insanely damaged and affected by this. And the whole gold market and the silver market has been heavily manipulated over the years to a point where it's just not even close to the real pricing. And we could look at the silver gold ratio, give us a good outlook on that. But Tim, I want to talk to you about this. Obviously, you're a certified financial planner. What do you think from that position, looking at these people that are spoofing and manipulating markets like gold and silver? Obviously, it's not the only market they manipulate. They manipulate most markets. But, I mean, what do you think of this?
Yeah, well, I mean, it seems like it's business as usual. While you were reading that article, I went to go look up, silver spoofing, and it's pretty much the same MO. And this is coming from J.P. Morgan Chase, when in 2019 they had metals traders who were accused of spoofing, the silver at the time. And the guy's last name was Truns, and he said, who earlier Tuesday resigned from his position as an executive director at J.P. Morgan, said he learned to spoof from more senior traders and spoof with the knowledge and consent of his supervisors. And so it says in the past 5 years, federal prosecutors have brought a total of 12 spoofing cases against 16 defendants. And the other thing I went to go look up is, and many people don't know this, but there is an actual London gold fix. And you just go on a gold fixing Wikipedia page, and the actual, I'm like not even joking, the actual place where they used to meet, and this was up until May 5th of 2004, they were meeting in person at a place that was, I think, right either attached to the Bank of England or right next to it, but it was in the offices of the London premises of Nathan Mayer Rothschild and Sons, were the actual company where they would get together to fix the price of gold. They would fix it twice a day. And this was something, I mean, it's not conspiracy theory. It's like an actual thing that they did every single year.
It's too good, Tim. It just reminds me of that quote. If you give us the power to manipulate the money, I care not who makes the laws. And at least some form of that quote. And, it's interesting because, again, we reported on this in like multiple videos. I've probably a couple dozen videos actually over the years on this, going back to JP Morgan, the article you mentioned there, Deutsche Bank, BNP Paribas, Scotia Bank, HSBC. I mean, all of these banks were caught red-handed. They ended up going to court, and there was one fall guy, and I believe the fall guy ended up being Deutsche Bank. And in the case of JP Morgan, they had one fall guy, an actual human being who went to jail, a very young trader who was basically saying, well, everyone at JP Morgan is doing this. It is commonplace. It's extremely commonplace.
Yeah, it was actually a 34-year-old that they rolled up. So someone that's my age is, who takes the blame, even though he said it was the senior traders that he learned it from. And just to let people know, they don't actually set the gold price anymore at Rothschild and Sons. So what they're doing now is they withdrew their application in 2004 and basically gave their spot over to Barclays. And then, lo and behold, in 2012, Barclays also got in trouble for manipulating markets as well. And then in 2014, Deutsche Bank, who we're talking about right now, withdrew from the gold and silver fixing panel as well. And I think Barclays got hit with a 26 million pound fine for having system failures and control failures, aka putting a good spin on manipulation. And so there's always, but if they're manipulating it down right now, then you should use that to your advantage, because over the long run they're not going to be able to do it forever. But this was people it's more like a more low tech way of, I guess, kind of like front running, or more of like a low tech way of like the high frequency trading that's going on, because in essence a lot of the high frequency trading is putting out spoof trades or excuse me, coronavirus, different trades that never really meant to exist. And And this seems like it's more, low tech, things that they've been doing, forever. And this is not the first time. It won't be the last time.
Well,
And
okay, so Tim, I've never seen gold as a reasonable investment. And now, again, this is just my opinion. I'm not asking for anything that's going to put you in any shady legal territory. I've always seen gold and silver as wealth insurance. Like, you can invest in it, but that's because it's manipulated. And we could see things like the silver and gold ETFs are extremely manipulated. And obviously, a lot of people make a lot of money off of investing it, but it's not one of those things that's meant for investing. It's always been meant as a currency, and it's been meant as wealth insurance against a dollar crash and stuff like that. It's basically something that preppers do to ensure that they have some kind of solid ground in the case of a financial collapse. And so when we see this trading, it always seemed to me like, what else can they do other than manipulate the price if they actually want to make a bunch of money off of it? I feel like if they were looking for making a bunch of money off of gold and silver, they'd be better place going to like the mining companies and investing in the mining companies with good products and good finds and everything, good operations going around the world, like in Nevada or in Manitoba, Canada. There's multiple places that have really big gold and silver mines. But as far as like the actual metal itself, it seems like it's obviously not the greatest thing in the world to be investing in. It seems more like wealth insurance, and people are trying to make it more volatile just for the sake of making money fast.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you get something that's more volatile, there's going to be a bigger spread between the bid ask, and that's how a lot of these companies are making their money, and so they aren't buying and holding it for the long term. They want to make trades on it, and I think that just your point that it should be viewed as wealth insurance. It should be viewed as historically. And again, I was gonna make an example to barrels of oil, but notwithstanding when oil was negative recently, it's always pretty much has bought around the same amount. It would take the same amount of gold to buy a nice rifle, same amount of gold historically to buy a barrel of oil. And obviously there's fluctuations. There's times where it gets extreme, especially right now if you take a look at the gold and silver ratio and things like that. But in terms of conserving, what people should be conserving is purchasing power, not just the amount of fiat dollars in their bank account, no matter what bank they're going to or currency they're going to denominate it in. They want to conserve purchasing power, and that's something where I think a lot of people are going to miss the boat. And for us right now, we do have gold and silver in our portfolios. We do have some mining companies in our portfolios. We do have some Bitcoin in our portfolios for clients right now. But we are very cautious because I think that the quick version of what I think is going to go down, and again, not investment advice, and and I don't have a crystal ball here, is I think no one's going to know who wins the election, at least in America, and that's going to create a lot of turmoil. And then after a while, they're going to say, "Hey, Trump, you need to go step down because look at the stock market. It's in the toilet right now, and it's all because you don't love your country and you're extending this out." And so no matter who wins, it's obviously not going to matter where both sides are going to spend us into oblivion. One side wants to spend us super fast into oblivion, while the other side wants to only get us super fast into it. So either way, the end game is already set and all this stuff. Not really sure how many more warnings that we have to give and John has to give over here, but at this stage of the game, yeah, it's not surprising that there's people spoofing the markets. It's funny that it's Deutsche Bank out of all banks, because it seems like they're always the ones that we pick on, but for good reason. They have massive derivatives exposure, and the only reason why places like the Federal Reserve can't allow something like deflation is because this whole derivatives has created a house of cards where even if things go down for a week or two, which going back to March when we were only going to have a 2-week shutdown to flatten the curve, that was enough to get us into this Armageddon, because right now we are 1 year removed from the repo market blowing up, which is exactly to the year, September 17th, and in my opinion, this entire pandemic was a cover up to basically have the bad assets go to different central bank balance sheets around the world and get it off the company, so then that way the companies could keep remaining solvent through all these different schemes that are going on and negative rates that are going on. We just did a video on negative rates out of England, of all places, which the Bank of England were where the gold setting was first deployed, and now it's all coming full circle because we're seeing.
Well, There's once gold in the Bank of England. There's been some good movies made about it. I think one had. Anyway, there's been a lot of good movies over the years about the gold in the Bank of England. I think it was a movie about someone robbing the Bank of England from the '60s. Anyway, but the point is, most of these places don't even have gold anymore. I mean, as we reported on in Canada, Canada sold off all of its gold years ago, except for a tiny little amount that's just
like $300 or something. I mean, just
something ridiculous. And then, something ridiculous. And then I confronted the finance minister of Canada, Bill Morneau, about it, who, by the way, just had to step down after a big scandal in Canada and was replaced by another complete moronic commie. But anyway, we warned about it, guys. We tried to warn you about it a long time ago in Canada anyway, and confronting Trudeau and confronting Bill Morneau, the finance minister, and Harjit Sajjan, the defense minister, about arming ISIS and all that kind of stuff. But no one listens because we're crazy people. But nonetheless, we're especially shadow banned now because we were right, and they're trying to stop us from actually reaching anyone anymore. But by the way, if you want to become a client of Tim Picciott, you could go to thelibertyadvisor.com. Again, he is a
we do have a second chance right now because the markets, so if your 401k and IRA went down 30, 40, 50%, over here, past performance no indication of future returns. Got a case the SEC is watching, but we were across the board at the worst down 3.5 to 5 while going up 26 last year. Very few people can probably tout that, and we did raise the minimum up to $50,000 now. So, and it's going up to 100 next month in November. So,
can people that have lower amounts, Tim, invest with one of the people that you work with?
Yeah, that will probably be something that we get down the road. But right now, the demand's been great enough that right now it is capped at that just from supply and demand. So down the road, and if you're interested in becoming an advisor with us, if you're already an advisor and maybe you're working in more of a more traditional status type company and you want to work with us, we'd be happy to take people on to then be able to handle that. But for right now, it sort of is what it is, and that is very, very, very. 50,000 is a joke in terms of the services we're provided in terms of doing put option strategies. I mean, these are things that you're usually not getting unless you're at a hedge fund, which even the hedge funds are getting killed right now. Like Ray Dalio is down, I believe, 18% year to date, and it's Bridgewater Fund, the largest hedge fund manager in the world. But he does at least agree with us that the dollar's day is ticking over there, and he is a fan of gold himself. So it's not Ray Dalio isn't all bad, but you do have a second chance right now. So if you got an old 401k, old IRA, looking to make things happen, we can do that. And if you have less than 50,000, there's different financial planning packages that we do have to help get you on a good path. But for now, you've got a window of opportunity to be able to sneak in there and really act quickly, because there's going to be October surprises, in my opinion, probably like none other. Who knows if we're even going to be on come October to get off of Facebook, get off YouTube in November. They're going for broke, and anyone that's not a communist is going to be kicked off these platforms. So that's why you got to follow us on Flote.app, follow us on LBRY, on Minds. I'm not really active on Minds, but I'm putting stuff up on LBRY now. I've been live streaming on Flote. I know Josh has been doing that stuff as well as plenty of other platforms. So make sure you follow us there, because eventually you're not going to be able to hear our voices. You're not going to know what's going on, and you're not going to be able to get several steps ahead of the game on stuff you've been worrying about for years.
It's that old saying, first they came for the journalists. We don't know what happened after that. And I believe that that's a powerful statement that we really need to keep remembering here, because at this point we have people like Julian Assange facing death in prison, being tortured for reporting on news of the government murdering people. And instead of them going after the people murdering people, they went after the people talking about the people murdering people. I mean, this is the kind of backwards Orwellian world we live in right now. It's absolutely sick and disgusting. And we're heading into an election at the same time as we have a monetary collision course for the history books happening here. And everyone's being forced in their house. The government's never been bigger. They've never had more control. My God, guys, I mean, if we don't start acting now, I don't know what to say. I mean, I'm basically past the point of educating at this point. It's like, let's do something now or forever hold your peace, because we are going to be muzzled and chained to the ground in no time. And we're basically already there. I'm being quarantined in my house right now. I entered into Canada. They said I can't leave for 14 days or face 3 years in prison and a $1 million fine. And that includes if I even go out on my porch. I can't even go out on my porch. The government is telling me that I can't leave my house. And the guy laughs and says, oh, it's like a house arrest. Ha ha ha. Yeah, real funny. And at the same time, they said the same penalties will happen if I didn't drive from the border to my house in my car with a mask on. They said that I can't contact anyone, or else they'll be kicked out of their jobs, and contact tracers will go after all those people. And if I refuse, not only will I be hit with a prison sentence and the fine, but I could end up being forced by government into a medical quarantine facility while awaiting trial. And in that, they can do all sorts of tests on me. They could do whatever they want. I'm going to be in a... Guys, this is so beyond insane.
And the U.S. government knew where you were traveling, too, without any other prior conversation with you.
Yeah, no conversation. They knew. They just started asking me about places I'd been that I haven't even posted online. Like, the details that they were asking me about were really strange when I got to the border. And then they ripped apart my vehicle and went through all my stuff and just left a mess, and ended up opening up my back door, and everything was just piled on top of itself and crushed. And I mean, like, I'm at this point where, like, I'm never coming back to Canada for the rest of my life. It's about time that people leave the empire, or at least protect themselves within the empire, because when it collapses, it's not going to be pretty. And I've been warning about this for years, and here we are, and it happens real quick, my friends. Happens real quick. And talking about the financial system with a cashless society and social credit, technocratic social credit scores tied to your ability to be subservient to the government, do what they say, or else you're selfish. Not the people that put guns to your head and say my ideas are so good that they require force. No, those people aren't selfish. People just living freely and trying to live peacefully are selfish. And on top of that, they're going to tie that to vaccines. They're going to tie that to all sorts of crazy medical tyranny. And the biggest lobbyist in the world is Big Pharma. When did the left start supporting the biggest monopolies in the world? It's insane. We need to we need to continue prepping. We need to continue getting ready. I'm going to Montenegro real soon, and going into the Balkans for a while, so I can preserve my ability to speak, because they're going to go into people's homes like in Australia and start arresting people for Facebook posts and videos, etc. I want to protect my ability to call out this stuff and expose this stuff, and we are going to be off of YouTube right away. So make sure to go to flote.app, BitChute, LBRY, and Minds. We're growing on there. We need you guys over there. Also join our newsletter at www.iamband.com. You can get t-shirts from us at our Teespring store link below. You can help us by going to GoFundMe, Patreon, Subscribestar. Just $1 or $2 a month makes a huge difference, guys. Seriously, we need you guys more than ever. Share on social media. Hit the like button. Just check all those links below. Become a client of Tim's at thelibertyadvisor.com. And of course, go and get one of those PFT privacy protectors to keep you safe from being tracked everywhere and being irradiated by your phone. There's the birth rate is falling like a rock because men are losing most of their ability to produce sperm. It's a lot of people laugh about it. They say, oh, it's not. I mean, the sperm counts have dropped dramatically, and that's the future of mankind right there. So being able to keep yourself safe, keep your testes safe from the impending doom of this radiation, radiated civilization we live in, and get one of those PFT privacy protectors linked below. Anyway, we have a whole bunch more we can talk about, and I've been going on too long, so we're going to call it quits for today. But anyway, appreciate you going into this with us, Tim. Things are getting so crazy. And anyway, until next time, this is Josh Sigurdson and Tim Picciott signing out from World Alternative Media. Find the truth, be the change. My friends, it is go time. We are completely demonetized on YouTube, and we depend on the viewer to stay alive and spread the message of freedom and truth. So check those links below. GoFundMe, Patreon, Subscribestar, anything you guys could do to help keep independent media alive helps enormously in helping spread this message to the masses. So make sure to check those links. Donate to our Bitcoin address on the screen or below. We really appreciate anything you could do to keep us alive. You could check those links below for Cointree as well, where you can find other cryptocurrencies that you can donate and keep WAM alive. Find us on flote.app, flote.app, as well as BitChute and LBRY and Minds. We're on all the other platforms. We are leaving YouTube soon, so make sure to find us at those sites, because it's the only way we can keep talking to you, the masses, the great people that actually care about the future of free humanity. Also, join our new newsletter at www.iamband.com. Anything helps at this point, guys. We need to support free information online. This is the most difficult time in our history, and it takes a lot of hard work to keep our message alive in the face of great evils. that have taken over the propaganda news on television as well as on YouTube, where YouTube decides what you can or cannot see. We need your help, my friends. So I really appreciate anything you guys can do. Check those links. There's many ways you can help. Until next time, though, thanks, everyone. This is Josh Sigurdson signing out from World Alternative Media. Find the truth, be the change.
I'm sure you have already changed people's minds in your young age because you're involved, and I like that.